Hey, what's up, everybody? Hopefully, everybody can hear me. How's everybody doing tonight? Sound check, one, two. We're back on YouTube. Liz, good to have you. I need a moderator. So, Liz, thank you for joining us. This is actually just a small discussion about the Vince McMahon Cochinada scandal. So, um, trying to see if we can do like a 30-minute live video, talk about it. A lot of people may not know what it is. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that it's actually not talked about more, but we can definitely talk about it. Depending on how many people we get, we could maybe open up the phone lines. And actually, I'm just also testing the waters with with YouTube. So this could be a good way to maybe talk about things and I don't know. We'll see how things go. But yeah, good to see everybody. Shout out to Ciel Garcia, to Isabel Martinez, Liz Cantusas, Frank, should I block Ciel? No, you actually don't need to block them. But anyway, it's good to see everybody. If you guys don't know, I actually was blocked on Facebook a couple days ago, and I don't know like why they do that. You really can't say anything because you get blocked. But if you say literally some of the most darnest things to bully people, you don't get blocked. Like you'll get a response back from Facebook saying we didn't find anything wrong. Anyway, good to see Rosie Martinez as well. Good to hear, good to see a couple people. So anyway, um, so let's start. And if people end up watching this video later on, please leave a hashtag replay so that when I view the comments, I can see if you actually saw this video on a replay. But anyway, I wanted to do a quick live video to talk about Vince McMahon and the Cochinada scandal. And if you guys don't know what that is, so guys, if you don't know who Vince McMahon is, you guys probably have been living under a rock for the past 30, 40 years, pretty much. So, guys, Vince McMahon, just a quick history about Vince McMahon. So, Vince McMahon is or was the CEO of World Wrestling Entertainment, formerly known as the World Wrestling Federation. They actually had a lawsuit back in the early 2000s because the WWF trademark was actually taken by the World Wildlife Fund, and they basically went to court, and the World Wildlife Fund ended up winning. So from that point in the early 2000s, the World Wrestling Federation was later rebranded as the World Wrestling Entertainment. But pretty much wrestling as what we know now is contributed to Vince McMahon, whether you like him, whether you hate him, whether he may be in a big scandalous lawsuit right now with some serious sexual allegations, whatever that could be, at the end of the day, the rise of wrestling popularity is actually can be pinpointed to one man, and that's actually Vince McMahon. And back in the day, guys, just to kind of tell you how he took over wrestling, I actually have a little map of oh, shout out to Juanita Mosquera. Good to see you. Juanita, good to see you. And Vanessa Martinez as well. Vanessa Caballero. And good to see a couple people that we know. But anyway, going back to the topic that's at hand. So back in the day, guys, before Vince McMahon took over wrestling as a whole, there used to be regions in the United States and in Canada that basically had local wrestling that was tied to that region. So I actually have a little map that I put on here. So back in the day, like I said, before the World Wrestling Federation or entertainment took over, um, there was all these regions that pertain to like a local wrestling promoter or like a promotion. So, for example, here in the Rio Grande Republic or mostly San Antonio and anywhere south, that was Southwest Championship Wrestling. In the Houston area, there was a small promotion called Houston Wrestling. And then, of course, you had Florida Wrestling. And then if you go to the Northeast, you had the World Wrestling Federation, which was actually owned by Vince McMahon's dad. And then you had some other regions like the Canadian Athletic Promotion, which mostly was Quebec and Montreal. And then on the top left corner, you had All Star Wrestling, and then in Canada on the north, you also had Stampede Wrestling. And just a little insight about some of these regions. Um, Stampede Wrestling, you guys probably heard about the Bret Hart, Owen Hart, Jim Neidhart, the British Bulldog. Well, were um, all those wrestlers actually originated from that wrestling promotion, Stampede Wrestling. And I think Bret Hart's dad, his name was Stu Hart. He had a pretty good promotional thing going. So once Vince McMahon, what happened is how he took over is Vince McMahon um, bought the World Wrestling Federation from his dad at the time. I think it was like $1 million. Now, he didn't tell his dad what plans he had to take over wrestling because everybody respected each other. This was kind of like in back in the feudalism days. Like you had, Scotland, and then you had England, you had Wales, you had Northern Ireland, and then you have, of course, all these other smaller regions, Sussex and Oxford, and all these smaller regions. So each region had like a duke that kind of controlled that territory. So this was like the same thing back in the early, like anything before the 80s. All these regions, they kind of respected each other and kind of didn't really mess around with trying to promote their wrestling to another region. But of course, came Vince McMahon and he had other plans for that. So one of the things that Vince McMahon actually did, just going back to like history, and I could be wrong, guys. There might be a lot of people that really, really follow wrestling, and they might say, Frank, you're wrong. This is actually how it started. Um, I don't claim to be a 100% guru in wrestling. I used to really love wrestling back in the late 80s and early 90s, and then of course with the NWO and all that stuff. But I could definitely be wrong in a couple things. So if I'm wrong, please comment something I might be wrong. But one of the things that Vince McMahon did is on how he actually rose to fame. This is just a small, introduction of how everything kind of happened. But Vince McMahon um, bought his father's business for $1 million and basically took over all these regions. And what he did is actually popularize wrestling by going to national TV. So what he started doing is a lot of these regions they didn't actually have any real TV um, viewership. They didn't like wrestling would maybe come out um, on a small local channel. But what Vince McMahon did, he literally took over, wrestling by promoting wrestling on national TV. And one of the first things he did was actually look for a star, like who was going to be the star that represented wrestling. There was like a lot of other wrestlers back in the day. There was Andre the Giant, there was the Iron Sheik, um, and of course you had trying to think of those other guys, Sergeant Slaughter. Um, I'm trying to think that one guy, Jerry Lawler. There's like a lot of these other wrestling guys, but the main guy that everybody can point to wrestling success in the 80s was attributed to Hulk Hogan. So Vince McMahon took Hulk Hogan, made him superstar, slapped the championship belt on him, and then basically from there started promoting wrestling TV and started getting all this money. Then he started buying, slowly he started acquiring all these smaller regions, and then pretty much by the late 80s, the World Wrestling Federation had pretty much taken over all these regions. All these regions couldn't compete with the money, with the superstars. I mean, they literally had nowhere else to go. So they kind of either bought in or they were just pretty much um, left to die. Stampede Wrestling from Calgary, the Hart Foundation, which was Bret Hart, all those guys, they actually sold their region to Vince McMahon um, with the understanding that Bret Hart and Owen Hart and all those guys would actually be wrestling in the World Wrestling Federation at the time. But anyway, that's another discussion as far as that because we don't have a lot of time. But anyway, going back to everything, guys. So Vince McMahon, he grew up. Um, he started buying all these regions. World Wrestling Federation started taking over. During the 90s, they had a feud with the World Championship Wrestling. Then during the Monday Night Wars, it was like literally back to back. It was, you know, WCW had a very good thing going with the uh, NWO. That lasted about 3 or 4 years, and eventually that kind of faded. And World Wrestling Federation kind of really became the number one wrestling promotion, pretty much all over the world, to be honest. Of course, with money comes power. With power comes scandals. You have people trying to you know, get you. But a lot of these scandals have always been there. They just kind of never really were talked about before. Um, One of the things that I remember reading, and I honestly, I want to say it probably is true, but I don't know if you guys maybe heard this, but there was a superstar named Jimmy Fly Snuka. I don't know if you guys remember him. Let me see if I can find a picture of this guy. But he was pretty famous back in the late 80s as well. So let me see if I could put his picture. So give me 1 second and I'll zoom in. So if you guys remember Jimmy Fly Snuka, well, actually this guy, um, he was a pretty good superstar in the World Wrestling Federation. Well, this guy ended up, well, the girlfriend that this guy had, they were at some hotel or something. I haven't really read the whole story. I remember this from years ago. But this guy actually, well, sorry, I should say, officially what's on paper is that the girlfriend or wife um, died in some freak accident at this motel. And basically, this guy was charged for murder, and Vince McMahon, well, it was alleged. I don't, like I said, I don't know the whole story, but it was alleged that Vince McMahon literally flew down there to wherever this guy was arrested and basically bailed him out, talked to whoever he needed to talk to, and that case went cold. It was swept under the rug, and it's not really talked a lot nowadays. But I mean, now with all these other allegations, man, I don't know. It's really hard to say if this guy Jimmy Fly Snook actually killed that girl. That's another topic of discussion, but let's get back to really what we're going to be talking about. And actually, before we start talking about, we do have a sponsor, which is iTax Services and Solutions from Brownsville. I've already talked about quite a few times that if you guys haven't done your taxes, please get with iTax with my buddy Lando Gutierrez in Brownsville. You don't necessarily need to live in Brownsville. Just call the number on there, 956-542-1024, and he definitely will help you out with your taxes. Free estimates, free direct deposit, no money upfront, fast refunds, best prices in town, and not just in Brownsville, but literally, I would say pretty much all throughout Texas and maybe the United States. Who knows? Anyway, and yes, they do speak Spanish, by the way. Anyway, appreciate that. Quick shout out to a couple people here. We got a couple new people. Sam Gerner, good to see you, Sam. Definitely glad to see you. Rubio 3863. Shout out to, let's see. Well, those are all the people I could see for the time being. All right, so back to what we're talking about. So, what is the whole allegations? Well, guys, this is like I said, this is actually something I'm very surprised about on why it's not talked about more in the news. But guys, al Chile, when I started reading everything, like I had kind of read about it like in the beginning of the year, and I didn't know, like I knew it was kind of bad, but I didn't know it was this bad. And I think my understanding is there was actually some allegations from 2 or 3 years ago, and they did like an internal review and they didn't really find anything. But at this point, this guy's pretty much screwed, like because there's some evidence out there. Liz Cantu says, Frank, I may need a tax person. Hey, al Chile, talk to my guy Lando. He's a very good friend of mine, and Al Chile, he'll definitely will look at your taxes, free estimate. And I never had any problems. I started doing my taxes back in 2015 with him, and honestly, he's a great guy to work with. So give him a try. You don't have anything to lose. And honestly, I know I said I was like we're sponsored, but he's not really paying me for anything. I just kind of put it out there because he's a good friend of mine, and I like to promote small business. So you owe me one, Lando. Free tax return for me. No, I'm just kidding. All right, back to the topic of discussion. So what is the allegation about? Well, guys, you have um, a former employee whose name is Janelle Grant, and it's alleged. Keep in mind, guys, this is allegedly. We're not saying that it happened or not because at the end of the day, the case hasn't been taken to court yet. But I mean, just looking at everything that's happened, yeah, there's a big case. Anyway, but this lady, guys, that you see on here, her name's Janelle, and she accuses Vince McMahon, this guy right here, she accuses him of all sorts of stuff, rape, extortion, sexual trafficking, and not to name all the hideous sexual acts that are on there. And I'm not gonna say everything word for word because I don't want YouTube to censor me, but like I'll let you guys read it and you guys can kind of like be like, dang. So I actually have the copy of the lawsuit right here. So let me put it up really quick. So this is the lawsuit. This was actually filed in the United States District Court in the in Connecticut. So this was on the 24th of January. So that was actually so one. So that was one. Shit, hold on. So that was one, two. Yeah, about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Liz Cantu says Frank, but the important thing is does she have receipts? Well, that's what we're gonna get to. And yes, stay tuned. It is definitely a good one. Um, but let's go into the document here. Let me just make this bigger so you guys can kind of follow along. So here it is, the document. So guys, here it says Janelle Grant versus the World Wrestling Entertainment, also known as well, World Wrestling Entertainment, which is WWE, Vince McMahon, and there's also another individual here as John Laurinaitis. So here, Janelle Grant says that she used to be, and here you guys can see where my mouse is. So here it says Janelle Grant was a former WWE employee who was the victim of physical and emotional abuse, sexual assault, and trafficking at WWE. Ms. Grant is filing the lawsuit just to address her own suffering. It says that the defendants basically is a WWW, sorry, WWE billionaire and founder, which is Vince McMahon, and he lived in the penthouse to basically where Miss Grant was staying. So here it says that the two, so this lady and this guy, give me one second. My son brought me a soda. Thank you. So here it says that the two met back in 2019. So that was just 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, it says Miss Grant met Vince McMahon, and basically she has been dealing with profound grief. She was dealing at the time with profound grief, struggling financially, and devoting years around the clock caregiving. Her parents passed away. On top of that, she was unemployed at the time. Her family home was lost in her parents' bankruptcy. So she was trying to find a job at the time, and it says that Mr. McMahon, which is this guy right here, Mr. McMahon met Miss Grant and basically talked her into giving her a job, which is Section 6, if you guys are following kind of along really quick. So it says Mr. McMahon befriended Ms. Grant in hopes of a new life with promises of yet to be determined role at WWE. So at this particular time, based on what I read, and of course just other people talking about this, she didn't have a job. This guy came up to her. Well, I guess through some mutual people they kind of met. Vince told her, "Hey, I can help you out. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of you." Um, and then, so here in section 7 it says McMahon basically started increasing lack of boundaries. It says during several meetings that were that were made, he would greet Miss Grant, which is the lady, in his underwear. And he touched her repeatedly, asked for hugs, and spent hours sharing intimate details about his personal life. It says Mr. McMahon wanted to keep their closeness secret, and basically that would lead to public trouble, and that while he protects loyal people, he had world-class legal resources on speed dial to deal with people who became a problem. And that definitely happens all the time, guys. People that have power, people that have like high level jobs, they will do anything to kind of you know, hush hush, right? But I mean, that right there is kind of like blackmail. I'm not sure what would be the proper legal term for that. Blackmailing, extortion, but I mean, basically, he started like in a sort of way conditioning her to kind of, hey, you know what, like, we should kind of go further than this type of boss employee type of thing. But hey, gotta be quiet, gotta keep this a secret. But if not, you know what, I got my phone on me, and I could call some people, and you know what, you don't wanna become a problem because we'll deal with that. So it says Section 9, as much as such, when McMahon pushed himself or pushed forward to Miss Grant in wanting a physical relationship, this was promised for employment for WWE. She felt trapped in an impossible situation, submitting to McMahon's sexual demands or facing ruin. Miss Grant fears she had everything to lose and face negative consequences no matter what happened. So basically, she fell due to pressure. And here in section 10, it says they basically were intimate. And pretty much after that, she got an entry level position as a administrator coordinator position that Mr. McMahon created in her WWE's legal department. It says Ms. Grant began to work in that role in 2019. And guys, what I can tell you is that I've actually worked not in my current job, but in another job I used to have. Al Chile, that job, it was very shady. In that job, guys, that I used to work in, there would be these positions that you would kind of see. You would see these positions out there made up, and you take a look at the position, and it's like fitness, and the job has like nobody does any fitness in the job, but somehow it's like a job to kind of promote health and wellness. But it was just like the wrong. It was just like so weird how it happened in the other job, right? And of course, it's a you know pretty nice, good-looking girl. So of course these things do happen. I could definitely um, tell you from first-hand experience that these things do happen. So here it says that she basically got the job for, you know, sleeping around with the dude. So this girl basically had to do favors for this guy, like chupiwaris. All right, going back. So she got a job, and then it also shows here that there's another defendant, John Laurinaitis. John Laurinaitis actually used to be a wrestler back in the day, but he became some executive. I don't know what capacity that was in, but I know he used to be a wrestler back in the day. So it says here that Vince McMahon told that Laurinaitis dude that she would be promoted to vice president of operations and talent relations. Of course, that was after they talked um, with the rest of the board. It says shortly thereafter they informed her that they needed to begin at a lower level as a director, but promised that within a year she would be vice president. So it says that Ms. Grant did express her concerns. She was unhappy. She tried to quit the relationship, but it states that Mr. McMahon expected the physical relationship to continue as part of her employment. She had no idea how this would be, nor the psychological torture and physical violence that this would leave her feeling helpless, isolated, and trapped. It says that in 2020, Vince McMahon started sharing nudes of Miss Grant. And the thing is, he started sharing the nudes to other, you know, it says here with people from inside the company, members of the television crew, with other executives. Um, Here it says that Vince McMahon would tell Ms. Grant that She would have to kind of sleep around with this dude a couple of days per the week. Um, and actually, this would happen on WWE headquarters, which is pretty fucked up. Like, I mean, Vince Mc like these are all allegations, guys, but let's just say they were true. Like, if that's true, I mean that's just the start of where some of the things get fucked up. Like to really not try to hide is like, hey, you know what? Like, shag this girl at HQ, and not even when the show would end. This would be like during regular hours. So of course Vince told the lady, well, alleged. This is her what she wrote down here in the affidavit. So um, she said that Mr. McMahon ordered the relationship to keep secret, and that and if anybody would say anything, she would have to lie to maintain those stories. Um, Mr. McMahon started calling her derogatory names like the B word. Of course, I'm not going to say these words on there. So the B word, you know, um, sometimes he would use words like girlfriend, baby. Like I said, you can see that here. I'm not going to say some of the things on there. Now, here's the part you guys can kind of read on there, but but this is where the freaky and cochinada stuff starts like coming in coming in play. So let me I just want to do something here. So it shows here that basically, and guys, you can read it. You can read what I wrote on there. Sorry, you can read what's on there. So it says that this guy started performing, Vince McMahon started performing acts of extreme cruelty and degradation that caused Miss Grant to disassociate or become numb to reality in order to survive the horrific encounters. And these are things that I've read, like when women, or maybe guys, perhaps, when women are basically sexually assaulted or raped, um, they kind of go numb, like their mind is elsewhere to kind of not think of whatever is going on at the time. So here you can read the rest. I will read it, guys. Keep in mind, this is what she wrote. This is what she alleges, and I will show you some of those text messages that are out there. But it says here, one example of, and this is really like, I was like, dude, like, I know I've seen some stuff, but it says here one example of Mr. McMahon's extreme depravity is that in May of 2020, he basically defecated on this lady's head. Like he dropped a deuce. And that's just one thing, guys. Of course, we're getting to the that's a cochinada right there, guys. To drop a deuce on somebody. Like, guys, it's kind of disgusting to see people do that in public. For example, like whenever I see homeless people, I have seen them dropping the deuce, but that's kind of understandable. Sometimes they don't really have anywhere to go. Like when they want to go to the restroom, they don't let them use the restroom at some of these places. And at the end of the day, they're just homeless people. But this is the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company that a lot of people know you. Like this guy literally, well, it's alleged he dropped a deuce on this chick's head. And that's the thing. And here's the thing, guys. That's not the end of it. You have to read what it says. So not only did he drop a deuce during that sexual encounter with another person, so that there was a threesome. There was a threesome going on at the time. It says here that not only did he drop a deuce, that he commanded her to continue pleasuring his friend with feces in her hair running down the back. And while that was going on, this guy, I mean, of course, he took the deuce, allegedly, and actually went to shower to clean himself. And then after he cleaned himself, it says, upon his return from the bathroom, Mr. McMahon and his friend, and actually we will talk about that friend, they actually resumed the threesome, which lasted over an hour and a half. And it says here that Miss Grant remained covered in Mr. McMahon's filth. When that friend left, Mr. McMahon ordered her to stay to continue to sexually gratify him. And guys, that's pretty sick. Like I've heard a lot of the weird sexual fetishes out there, but I mean I would read about them. Like you read all these Urban Dictionary terms and stuff, but like to actually hear about somebody that you watched for years, because I knew Mr. McMahon was crazy, but dude, like this is really not even crazy. This is straight up. I don't even know what to call it. Like I don't even think I have a word for this. Um, it's not even sick. It's a level that you don't think that a person could get to. But el vato es un maníaco cochino. Like this is not like cochino is actually put in a very little, right? But no, there's a term. I don't have the term off the top of my head right now, but I mean that's pretty sick. Like to drop a deuce and it's all over the chick's head, and then you're still like to kind of be doing all that stuff. And guys, it's not like it's smelling like flowers. When you drop a deuce, it stinks, and you're still like doing all that stuff. That's pretty sick. You know, of course, this is just allegations, but some of the text messages that I'm going to show you will kind of like Anyway, it says that in 20 June of 21, Vince and Laurinaitis, which is this guy right here. It says here that back in June of 21, they actually raped this lady, like I said, allegedly. That they basically came into the room that this girl was in and basically raped her. Um, it shows here that WWE knew about what was going on, but they basically um, tried to conceal what was going on. It says that Vince McMahon told Miss Grant that his wife had found out, and to kind of you know deal with to deal with the negative publicity, divorce, other repercussions. Vince McMahon forced Miss Grant to sign a non-disclosure agreement, and there was something I did wanted to kind of cover up on here. So hold on. There was another wrestler that they kind of that if these allegations are true, um, I would be very disappointed. But there is, like, if you guys read in this part, let's see, is that this friend that shows here. So if you guys read section 20, as far as the when he dropped the deuce, it says that he commanded her to pleasure the friend while Vince McMahon went to take a shower. The friend is actually a former um, UFC champion. but also was a wrestler. Now, there's not that many wrestlers that come to mind, but everything kind of points out that the wrestler in question is none other than Brock Lesnar. You guys may have heard of this guy. So, Brock Lesnar, he was a heavyweight champion in the World Wrestling, and he actually quit for a time because he pursued mixed martial arts, and he actually won the championship in the UFC. Later, he lost it, but I mean that was something that never had been done before. So he had won not only the championship in the World Wrestling Federation or the World Wrestling Entertainment, but he also won the heavyweight title in UFC. So I thought it was pretty cool. Like I really, like I said, it's all alleged, but just based on what I'm reading, and it's just so funny that the WWE has really, and you can kind of tell that the person that they're trying to name, but it's not really named, is him because all of a sudden they've taken him off the roster. All of a sudden they took him off from the video games. They took him off from all the merchandise. They took him off from all they're trying to delete all the matches that he used to be in, and I mean he's done over hundreds, if not thousands, of matches. So they're trying to erase everything that he's done throughout like the last 15, 20 years, and something like that wouldn't be done unless these allegations are true. Osiel Garcia says, Frank, wasn't Ken Shamrock another? Yeah, Ken Shamrock did fight in the UFC, but I don't know if he actually won. Was Ken Shamrock UFC champion? I don't think he actually won a UFC title. I think he won something afterwards, but during the main UFC, I don't think he ever won. But Liz Catu says, Frank, or actually, she was talking to somebody. Wasn't Triple H his son-in-law? His daughter married one of those guys. Yes, Liz Catu, you are correct. Vince McMahon's son-in-law is actually none other than um, what's his name? What's his? Well, Triple H. But I'm trying to think of his. Oh, Paul Levesque. That's his real name. And Paul Levesque is married to the daughter of Vince McMahon, which is Stephanie McMahon. Now, I think Triple H may have known something, but they're trying to keep it like, hey, like not anything to do with that. And I'm pretty sure they'll say something once these allegations are either proven true or proven false. They'll kind of will comment on it. Of course, something like this, you have to have very good public relations because anything you say will definitely be used against you. But but yes, Paul Levesque, aka Hunter Hearst Helmsley, aka Triple H, is married to Stephanie McMahon, and they've been married for a long time now. I think about 20 years, something like that. But and then Paul Levesque, he's like one of the high executives now in the company. But yeah, it's pretty messed up that now Brock Lesnar's involved. Now they haven't really mentioned if he's the one, but everything points out that he's the one um, in that lawsuit. Now, of course, um, what about what about the receipts, right? Is there any actual proof? Because guys, when I do hear a lot of stories, and don't get me wrong, there are a lot of women that all of a sudden, um, 20, 30 years down the line, they'll say, "Oh yeah, you know what? I was touched and I was molested." But this is like from 30, 40 years ago. I've even seen some cases from even 50 years ago. It's like if you didn't bring it up then, why are you gonna bring it up now? This is like right around when the guy is like super old and he's about to die. And to be honest, a lot of these women definitely are just doing it to get paid, you know. But this is a different case because, well, first of all, this chick was getting paid through a non-disclosure agreement. However, el pendejete de Vince McMahon, he didn't follow through on the payments. That's actually why, think about it, guys. Actually, now that I think about it, that's actually why all this is happening because Vince McMahon didn't come through on his word that he was going to pay this chick. I'm not sure exactly what the amount was, but of course, a couple million. And I guess he forgot. I don't know, and he forgot to pay her. And of course, part of the non-disclosure agreement is you got to come through on paying. If you don't pay, the agreement becomes void, and then the chick can say everything that's happened. But Liz, I definitely will address that question um, because it is definitely a sensitive topic, and I definitely want to bring that up. But anyway, let me show you some of the messages that are floating around, and these messages are actually true. Like these are actually messages that are going to be in court. All right, so let me show you some of these messages. I'm not going to read them all loud to y'all because, as I said, YouTube will ban me. But I could definitely show you a couple here. These are not all of them, guys, but these are definitely a few that I found. And you're gonna be all of there. But yeah, guys, it is pretty graphic. So guys, these are true messages. Like I said, these are gonna be in court, and I think that this guy's done for. I don't think he really has a good case to defend himself. But just read some of these messages. Like I said, I'm not gonna read them all out loud, like some certain words I can't say. But let me see if I can zoom in here. So here it says, "I love it." That's you, Jeanette, Janelle. I think that's her name. You just can't get enough, can you? In the future, it's going to be so bad that you'll demand to be effed twice a day, and not just with um, the names omitted in a three-way, but why not let others see the beautiful, voluptuous body, watch you shake uncontrollably when you know, they'll go out of their minds. Then I'll find more friends and we'll tie you up so you're helpless. I'll direct them to have their way any way they want, who can make you scream the loudest. Maybe I'll just line them up and have them, I'm not going to read this word in your mouth, your pee all over your boobies and booty. I can't even say exactly how it is, right? But you'll be covered in so much, and we'll make you eat all of it. Taste everybody's. The next morning, you'll be a little sore, but you're still gonna want more. And that's just one of them. Here's another one. Um, here, I'll read this one. It says, uh, so and so called me this afternoon begging to eat you and F you with his nice D. And then she responds, "Give me another week. I'll be ready. I'm not feeling myself. It's not great, but I'm getting better." And then he basically kind of like tells her, "Hey, like, you know what? He wants to see you Tuesday. So make it happen." So, like I said, these are some of the messages. I'm not really gonna read them out loud, but you can read them. Like, read this one here, the one I'm highlighting. I'll give you guys a quick minute to read that. But guys, this is real. Like, it's not fake. I mean, these are real messages from Vince McMahon. Like I said, I'm not gonna. I really can't read a lot of the stuff that's on here because I don't want to get blocked on YouTube or anything. But you guys can definitely read it. Este vato era. You can read some of those messages. Era un cochinón el vato, guys. And there's nothing wrong with being kinky with your partner and stuff, but this is beyond kinky. You know, that's it's this is pretty hardcore. Like it says, there's nothing wrong being kinky with your partner, but este vato se pasó de cochino. Look, here's another part. Like, if you guys want to read this part here, you can read that. But yeah, el vato es un cochino. Liz Cantu says, Frank, they're all cochinos. Yeah, I mean, of course. But yeah, this is pretty fucked up. Guys, this is just some of the messages that are out there. I mean, there's probably hundreds of messages on there, but this is, you know, so Liz Cantu made a good she made a good question, and maybe you guys can share your thoughts on this. But I mean, from what I can tell, this guy was literally offering this girl to other people, which really is, I guess, in some sort of way, sexual trafficking. I mean, of course, he didn't bring her from another country, but by definition, it is pretty much sexual trafficking. So, what are the three types of sexual trafficking? So I'm just looking that up by definition. It says there's three common types of human trafficking: the sex trade, forced labor, and domestic servitude. So understanding sex trafficking by the Department of Justice. Let's see. Um, oh, so there's a couple of actions. So one is soliciting, which is offering something of value in exchange for sex, such as housing, food, clothing, travel. So you know, of course, that could be maybe like a job. So I mean, really, by definition, I mean this guy's pretty much done. If it's true, like I said, these are all allegations, but I mean, this is definitely these are screenshots from text messages that Vince sent to this lady, and I don't know how he's gonna come out of it. Um, anyway, Jose Martinez says, Frank, what's up? Hey, good to have you here, Jose. But yeah, guys, this is definitely very serious. I mean, like I've read a lot of allegations throughout the different years. With Vince McMahon hooking up with different wrestling girls. But that's kind of you know that happens everywhere pretty much, right? But this is not really more of an allegation. I mean, this is real serious stuff. I mean, you don't really make this stuff up unless you got something serious because it's one thing. Oh, the guy, I slept with him and he didn't want to pay me. But to make stuff like this to this degree, guys, like taking a deuce on your head, I mean that's pretty serious. So as I said, I personally do believe her. These are allegations. Liz Cantu did make a good question. This is valid. I mean, I welcome all questions, all opinions. But I do think that she was definitely forced to be in that relationship. I mean, I do think that he threatened her with, you know, ruining her reputation. Of course, he was the employer, so like that's another whole, you know, thing to it, um, or dynamic. Um, so was she able to leave? Maybe, but at the same time, like it is a situation where you're kind of fear for your reputation. You kind of fear that you're not gonna have money, um, or even get killed. Like I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say about that. So that's definitely a good question. I mean, I'll ask you guys really quick. I'll make a quick poll. Let's see if I can make a quick poll. Do y'all think Vince McMahon? I'm trying to think of the question. Do y'all think Vince McMahon did it? Yes. All right, Zach. So I'm gonna have you just do a quick poll on this. Let me know what you guys think. Um, but Liz Cantu says, Frank, why is she speaking up now? I agree with Isabel. Totally willing. She's out for big money. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I know it's a real hard situation, but I mean, it's I personally think. I mean, yeah, of course there's gonna be money involved, but I mean, guys, like think about it. I don't think that in any way she ever asked for like let's just say these allegations are true. You think that she asked for her to get deuced on her head? Come on, guys. I'm asking you for real. Do you think that this lady really said, "Hey, Vince, take a deuce on my head"? So, anyway, guys, please vote on the poll. Um, Let me know what you guys think. And we don't have a lot of people voting, but so far we do have yes. But okay, so Liz Cantu says that that's not a good poll. I'm sure it happened. The question should be if she was in it willingly. Okay, so guys, let me erase this poll. All right, let's make a new poll so that um did the girl do it willingly? Okay, guys, here's I put something funny. I know I shouldn't be funny talking about this, but all right, guys, go ahead and whenever you see the poll, please go ahead and vote. I'm gonna leave the poll open for just a quick minute, and then we'll close it out. And actually, while you guys vote in the poll, we can try to. Jose Martinez says, Frank, I can't see the poll. You should be able to see the poll. Click on the poll. All right, so I'm gonna leave the poll, and while you guys vote in the poll, I'm gonna see if we can open up the phone line really quick. Let me get the phone line ready, and then we'll take one or two quick calls. And I haven't done this in a while, so let me see if I remember how to set up the call. A ver, let's see if this works. So vamos a ver, guys. Vamos a ver. Okay, so guys, I have the phone line open. We'll do a quick call, one or two calls, and and we'll. Hey, by the way, guys, when you guys call in, we're gonna stick to the subject. I don't want to talk about other stuff that does not have anything to do with this. But if you guys want to call in, just share a quick opinion. Let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna put my phone number on here. If you guys call in private, I'm not gonna post your number, but if you call private, I'm not gonna answer. Anyway, so guys, let's go ahead and take a quick call, if possible. If not, pues, like, it's not a problem. So guys, quick call in 956-579-7022. Call in of Lando Chile. Let me know what you guys think. You can tell me what you think about the subject, and we'll go from there. Anyway. Isabel Martinez says 10,000 topics. Well, 10,000 topics, guys, but we're talking about this topic, so we're going to talk about this particular topic if you guys call in. So if you guys want to call in, please call 956-579-7022. Let's take a quick call. Be my guests. And if not, pues, we'll just end the live early. But let's see. Maybe we'll take a call. By the way, so guys, the phone line's open. Give me a call, 956-579-7022. The Like I said, I don't take private calls, but if you guys want to call in really quick, I will definitely appreciate it. We'll leave the line open for about a minute, and then if not, we'll end it early. And actually, after this, I gotta go complete my walk and run challenge. All right, so phone line's open. If nobody wants to call in, pues like I said, it's not the end of the world. All right, guys. So nobody called in. We had the line open for 2 minutes. I'll give 30 more seconds. See if anybody wants to call in. But if not, like I said, it's not a big deal. All right. So guys, nobody called in. I'm gonna go ahead and close the phone line, and we'll talk about some other things really quick. All right. So line is off. Closing it down. So guys, really quick before I finish, actually, I wanted to share some news that I actually learned about the Super Bowl. So, guys, yesterday the Super Bowl, Kansas City won. They beat the San Francisco 49ers by a touchdown. Well, actually, it was more because there were three. They won by 3 points. Anyway, but guys, I didn't know that Apollo Creed died. I was like, what? So, guys, Apollo Creed was actually a character in Rocky. He was actually played by an actor named Carl Weathers. And I actually didn't know that he died. I was like, what? He died? When? So I was pretty sad to learn that he died. I was like, what? So yeah, he died. That was a little bit sad that he passed away. Um, but let's see, really quick. But anyway, so guys, shout out to Applejack. I don't think I've seen that person. So shout out to Applejack. Anyway, guys, so that's the end of this video. I just wanted to kind of bring this up. You guys can actually learn more about this online. But yeah, guys, let me close the poll. And the poll is actually we had 12 votes. So we had 6 people voting that they feel that the girl willingly did it, and then the other 6 people say that no, that she was forced to do that she was forced to do so. Anyway. Applejack says, Frank, I like your show so far. I've never seen you before. Well, Applejack, thank you. We actually have a Facebook page. If you don't know what page that is, you can actually look for the page on Facebook. Let me go ahead and type it out really quick. please like and follow us on Facebook. Please also subscribe to our YouTube channel. We actually may do more shows. This was just like a little test run, and I haven't been on YouTube in a while. So if you definitely liked it, please subscribe, so that when we make another live video, you will get alerted, and you can watch at the time. So Applejack, thank you for watching. But guys, that's the end of the show. Just really quick. I really appreciate everybody following the page. And actually, I don't know if you guys know, but we've actually have reached 48,000 people that follow the Facebook page. So I was like amazed that, I mean, keep in mind, guys, a lot of people did follow the page because I posted a dead chameleon. I posted a dead chameleon on there. But we we definitely have a lot of people following us. So if you guys are not following because for whatever reason, please like and follow our Facebook page. It is No More Chisme. 48,000 people that follow us. We're trying to get 50,000 by the end of the summer. That's a good number. And definitely appreciate everybody liking and following our page. And make sure you hit that follow button on there. But guys, that's the end of this. Y'all take care. Appreciate everybody. Pórtense bien. And we'll see you next time. Maybe I'll have my wife come up with me on the show, and we can hear some of their opinions from other people. Anyway, guys, talk to you guys later. Much love, support, pórtense bien, and that's it. Talk to you guys later.